Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Sadasi Samad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Sadasi Samad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Kartik Mas Bharat Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda Hari Hari Bo. All together please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kanamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Kirana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Digatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishavana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary Srila Prabhupada. Today's verse number 27, chapter 5. Chapter 6, chapter entitled Jnana Yoga. It's a very important verse today. It deals with the goal of Krishna consciousness. Please repeat. Yato, yato. Huh? Oh, okay. I'm reading 26, my fault, sorry. Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukam uttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahmabhutam akaimasam prashanta manasam hyayanam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahmabhutam akashmalam masam prashanta manasam hyenam yogam sukham uttamam Upaiti Shantarajasam Brahmabhutam Akalmasam Prashanta Manasam Yenam Yogam Sukham Uttamam Upaiti Shantarajasam Brahmabhuta Akalmasam. Okay. Vaishnavis, Prashanta Manasam Yenam Nam Sukhamuttamam Rajasam Brahmabhutam Akalmasam. Okay, word for word. Prashanta, peaceful, fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. Manasham, whose mind, he, certainly, enam, this, yoginam, yogi, shukam, happiness, uttamam, the highest, upaiti, attains, shantarajasam, his passion pacified, brahmabhutam, liberation by identification with the Absolute, akalmasham, freed from all past sinful reactions. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. So, please repeat. The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Brahmabhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param, Bhagavad Gita 1854. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manna Krishna Parara Vindayo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the modes of passion and all material contamination. Makam karochi vachalam pangam laite girim yad kripa tamaham bande Sri Guru dinatarinam. Prasantam manasam hyenam yoginam sukham uttamam. Upaiti shanta rajasham brahma bhuta akalmasham. The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. So yes, like we said, this is the goal of Krishna consciousness, to become free of the modes of material nature and established in our qualitative oneness with Brahman. However, that means to be established in our relationship with the Brahman. Many people think that when they become free of the modes of material nature, they will become established in Brahman. They'll merge into the Brahman, as if the Brahman is an ocean and I am a drop of water re-entering the ocean. But this is spiritual suicide, and it is perfectly inaccurate. Jivera Swarupoy Nichera Krishna Das. Nearly every class we are saying that. The Swarup, the spiritual form of the Jiva, is established eternally within the soul. Just like Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhakabanai, Shravanadi Sudachitte Karide Udai. Now the soul may enter into Brahman. We know from the Bhagavatam that there are three aspects of the Absolute Truth: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. So the Brahman is the Brahmajyoti. But in the Ishupanishad we find Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Bukam. Oh, Supreme Lord, please remove this Brahman effulgence so that I can see your form of bliss. Now it is a mistake of philosophy, a mistake of interpretation upon the Vedas to consider that the form is a product of an impersonal energy, Brahman, which is nirvisesh, nirguna. Nirvisesh means without variety, without quality. Now, logically, how can that which is without variety produce that which has variety? Nirguna, how can that which has no qualities produce that which has qualities? We see in the creation that there is variety and there are qualities. There are the qualities of the gunas of the material nature. There is form everywhere in the universe. And we are to be convinced that the Nirvisesh and Nirgun Brahman is producing this form. This is not logical. Also, however, somebody may counter and say, but it says in the Shastra that the Supreme is Nirvisesh, the Supreme is Nirgun. That is a Shastric statement, Veda Pramana, and the Vedas are the ultimate evidence of the Prameya, that which is to be proved. So, that means Brahman is Nirvisesh and Nirguna. So your logic does not apply. Well, the Acharyas, the Vaishnava Acharyas, Lord Brahma, and also even Shankaracharya, we'll get to that, they have explained that this statement in the Shastra saying that Brahman is nirgun or nirvisesh, without quality and without variety, this is a statement that the Brahman, that which is truth, which is eternal truth, which is the absolute truth, which is the transcendental source, is without material qualities, without material variety. This material variety which we're experiencing, men and women and so on and so forth, different colors, different sensual objects, this is all on the material platform. But the Supreme is with variety and different qualities, but they are spiritual. And this is the production of, this is the assertion, this is the evidence given in the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Gita. That spiritual form is the source of material form. That spiritual qualities is the source of material qualities. But this spiritual quality and spiritual form, this is Jadamaya. This is material. It is of a lesser, it is of a secondary nature. And it is there, it is produced from the causal ocean, from the Pradhan, by the interaction of the time factor, the Kala Shakti, and the living entities under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. And it has the quality of Tama, forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, because it is produced from the Pradhan. The Pradhan is emanating, it is the causal ocean, from the form of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is in Yoga Nidra. He is in his Leela of resting, Yoga Nidra. Now, when we rest in this material body, we lose our identity, do we not? In Swapna, we think we dream. I'm a king. I'm being chased by a lion. I'm flying in the sky. Huh? Where is this? This has come from the Supreme. The source of this is that Krishna, in his Leela, he enters into Yoga Nidra. Rama Devi is there in the causal ocean, massaging his feet. And he is forgetfulness of his identity. And he is producing another form of Brahman known as Pradhan. And so Krishna is producing on the spiritual form, on the transcendental form, the Brahman energy, which is the Chit Shakti. But on the material, in the causal ocean, he is producing another form of Brahman energy. He is emanating that, but it has the quality of Tama. That means it has the quality that gives forgetfulness of the true Supreme Self and the individual self of the Jiva. So that is brought into effect and variety by the glance of Mahavishnu upon the personified energy. Mahavishnu is there in Yoga Nidra within the Pradhan. He is glancing upon Durga Devi. That glance is the Kala Shakti, and it is containing the conditioned jivas, and it is creating in the Mahatattva, it is the interaction, as we see in many temples, of the lingam with the yoni. The yoni is Durga Devi, and that lingam is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, that glance of Mahavishnu is Sada Shiva. And he is particularly the Kala Shakti. He is breaking the eternal existence, which is without the material time factor, into the illusory, the perceived function of past, present, and future. And he is breaking the neutrality of the the Pradhan into Sattva, Raja and Tama. And then this is all interacting under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. Lord Brahma is making Visarga, that is the secondary creation. The primary creation is called Sarga, and that is the initial creation of Mahavishnu to create the Mahatattva, then all the universes. Brahma is the secondary creator within these universes. And then the living entities, they enter and they have two items. Their calm, their desire, which in the period of Nirodha. Nirodha means when the living entities are withdrawn into Mahavishnu. But then they become active and their calm is there, but also their karma phal, the fruit of their karma. So therefore they continue. Even though the material manifestation is there with one exhalation of Mahavishnu, it is withdrawn. This is called Nirodha. It is withdrawn within Mahavishnu. So, this is the basic format of the material creation. So, the variety in the material world is, and the qualities of the material world are of a secondary quality, because they are made from the Pradhan, and they are given, the bodies are given to the jiva so that they can interact with this lower secondary material energy. And that's why we're entangled in samsara, because we are trying to enjoy this secondary energy. Aham bhogi, aham ishvaro, I am the controller, aham bhogi. I am the controller and enjoyer. Just like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Duryodhana, all the little tyrants, they want to be the controller and enjoyer of the material world. Hiranyakashipu, what does his name mean? Hiranya and Kashipu. Hiranya means wealth, gold. Hiranyakashipu means soft bed. So Lord Chaitanya has said, this is what the material, I don't want that. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. I don't want dhanam, I don't want wealth, I don't want societal status, janam, followers, and I don't want sundarim, sex life, soft bed. So that is the spiritual path. That is the path of the yogi. He is withdrawing from the secondary energy and learning how to make his consciousness flow to the supreme energy. And he understands that the Brahman is the beginning platform of that. But all three phases, as we say, is described in the Vedas. There is the Brahman, the effulgence, the Chit Shakti of this transcendental realm. There is Paramatma, that is the expansion of Krishna, Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Sharadakshay Vishnu, into the material energy to supervise the desire and activities, the calm and karma of the living entities within the material energy. That is done by Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. But Krishna is Leela Mayi. Bhagavan is Leela Mayi. What does Mayi mean? Mayi means full of pastimes, full of variety. There are 4 dhams explained in the Brahma Samhita. Goloka namni nididamni taleta tasya devi maheshu haridameshu teshu tete pravava nichaya vehichaschayena govindamadi purisham tamaham banami. That there are 4 dhams. Lowest of all is Durga Dham. Then there is Mahesh Dham. And then there is Haridam. And then there is Golok Dham. Durga Dham, this is what we are at least physically positioned within. Mahesh Dham is the abode of Mahesh. He's there with Parvati. He doesn't have a palace. It's described in Shastra that he's happy to sit under a banyan tree with Parvati Devi. And he is, in one sense, the real Lord of the material world. He is the Lord of Tamagun, forgetfulness, material desire, ignorance. And Durga Devi is supplying, she is the supervisor of Durga Dham. Dur means difficult. Ga means difficult to go out of. Also, she is expansion of Radharani, she's Shakti Tattva. And also, Radharani's name is Durga, also on the transcendental platform, because it is difficult, in fact, it is impossible once the Supreme Lord's abode has been attained to go out of it, Durga. So in the material world, it's very difficult to get out of this material energy. But the yogi knows how to do it. Because in each yuga, there is a yuga avatar that gives the yuga dharma. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalo, kalo nasteva nasteva gasteva gatiya anyata. We don't need to know all the details of the Shastra. That is very good. It's very satisfying for the intelligence. But if we take shelter of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The consciousness which is the reservoir of all our material karma, material foul desire, this pollutant, this Chetudarpanam becomes cleansed. Chetudarpanam marginam. Bhavmahaninvag. Then the next effect is that the material bhava, the mood of enjoyment in the material world becomes placated. Chetudarpanam nivapanam. Shreyarachan. Then that is the auspicious condition. And then Vidyavadu Jivanam. That means that the natural spiritual perception of the transcendental abode becomes awakened in the jiva. Vidyavadu Jivanam. It means the spiritual knowledge is directly perceived by the purified consciousness of the supreme, of the individual jiva. So Shraddha, faith, turns into realization. And then Vidyavadu Jivanam, then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam means that this, once the Supreme Lord and His Leela and His creation, His spiritual abode is perceived, then there is an increase of Ananda. And then the Supreme Lord and the Swarup of the Jiva, we can think of the Swarup of the Jiva is in essence Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Dasa Das Anadas. It is the mood of service to the Supreme Lord. Just like in this material world, according to our mood, we get a material body, do we not? If we have a dog mood, we get a dog body. If we have a pig mood, we get a pig body. If we have a Rakshasa mood, we get a Rakshasa body. If we have an Asura mood, we get an Asura mood. If we have a Deva mood, we get a Deva body. According to our root mood. But if we have our mood of prem, Nityasiddha Krishna prem, we get a spiritual form. We don't have to worry about the details of that. We have to cultivate the root, which is the mood of service to the Supreme. So that is properly fulfilled in service to the Supreme Lord Leelamai Krishna. This is the important point. Krishna is Leelamai, and we are all meant for entering into the Leela of Krishna. It is our natural function. And if we cultivate Dasya Bhav, the mood of service, that will expand into our spiritual form naturally. But that means we should, how we can develop that dasya bhav? Mahat sevam dwaram aho vimuktes. That if you serve the Mahatma, your spiritual dasya bhav, the root form of the soul, will awaken. That is there, rooted in the soul. So therefore, in the Vaishnava philosophy, which is the complete understanding of the Vedas, we accept Brahman, but we do not see it as the final realization of the Supreme. We accept Paramatma, but we do not expect that Paramatma is the final realization of the Supreme. Everything is resting upon the Brahman and the supervision of Paramatma in the material world. But in the spiritual world, everything is resting upon the Leela of Krishna. And in that situation, that is our ultimate realization of the Supreme. So this is what this verse is talking about. There is also a verse in the second canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Muktir hitavan yata rupam, that liberation, which is mentioned here, right? Let's go back to the verse. The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me, Bhagavan Krishna, verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. That's very good. You can merge into the Brahman and you will feel a relief from the material energy. And you can meditate on Paramatma and you can feel relief. And you can feel some transcendental happiness in the realization of Paramatma. But Krishna is saying here, the yogi whose mind is fixed upon me, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the Lord of Goloka, the Lord of the gopis, Radha Madhav, Jamuna Tira, Vanachari, he's having pastimes in Jamuna. He's having unlimited pastimes with the gopis, with the cowherd boys, with the Vatsalya Bhav. The yogi whose mind is fixed on Bhagavan, Leela Mai Krishna, he is getting the highest happiness. And as we say, this idea that Brahman is the highest position of spiritual realization, this is the production of Lord Shiva in his incarnation as Shankaracharya. And but what does he say? He says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karine. Also, in the Padma Puran, he says, Mayavadam Ashak Shastram, Prachjanam Buddham Uchyate. What does that first one mean? Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate, you donkeys. Worship Govinda, the Lord of Goloka. Nahi rakshati dukrin karine. At the time of your death, nahi rakshati, your grammatical jugglery, your twisting of the Vedic philosophy into impersonalism will not save you. And that, I think it's Padma Puran, Mayavada Mashak Shastram Prishtanam Buddham Uchyate. Lord Shiva is talking to Parvati. It is Shastric. My dear Parvati, in Kali Yuga, I spread the Mayavad philosophy. It is Asak Shastram. It is Asat. It is non-eternal. It is not Brahman. It is a false interpretation of the Shastra. Now the reasons for that are manifold, but mainly it is to produce ignorance within Kali for the Leela of Kali Yuga, and also it is to separate the Mayavadis from the Vaishnavas and so on. I can give another class on that. But basically, Lord Shiva is saying, it's Asak Shastram, Prishchanam Bodham Uchite. He says it is covered Buddhism. Buddhism, what is Buddhism? It is spiritual life without God. Right? Huh? Mayavad is spiritual life without Bhagavan. One is going zero, nihilism, Buddhism. Then you have one, Mayavad. It's all one. But then Vaishnavism and the true understanding, the highest happiness, is interaction with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose spiritual variety and spiritual qualities are the source of all material variety and all spiritual and all material qualities. If it's not in the Supreme, how is it in His creation? If I don't have money in my pocket, how can I buy something in the shop? If I don't have qualities and variety, and the Shastra is saying like that, how can I produce a creation of variety and qualities? And also, Prabhupada would often quote that in his Sharika Bhashya, Shankaracharya, incarnation of Lord Shiva, he says, Narayana Paro Vyaktat. That Nara-Arayan, the shelter of all souls, is Paro, above Vyaktat. There is Vyaktat and Avyaktat. The Vyaktat is this, the manifest creation from our point of view. The Avyaktat is the spiritual creation. So, the highest happiness is relationship to Bhagavan. And now we see, I was just discussing with one God brother a couple of days ago, when I first came to India in 1970s, there was all Mayavadi everywhere. And everyone, oh, it's all illusion, we're all God. But now, because of Srila Prabhupada has released the holy name into India, and everywhere people are chanting. Now, Vaishnavism and realization of Bhagavan is rising in India. And Mayavad philosophy is being forgotten, as it should be. So, the important point is that in India there are many sadhus, and they may be going on the internet and saying, I'm a sadhu, I'm a guru, I'm a this, I'm a that. But what is the test? And that is easy. If somebody is saying, I'm a sadhu, I'm a guru, I'm on the internet, you must ask him one thing. What is your sampradaya? What is your parampara? In which of the 4 Vaishnava sampradayas are you initiated? Evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo vidu. Krishna says, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, that this knowledge of the truth of the Brahman is coming in parampara. It is not a matter of speculation. Oh, I don't need a teacher because I figured it out myself and I grew a big beard. No. What is your sampradaya? By whom are you initiated? By whom are you studying? Now there are many charlatans. Oh, I don't need to study. I am realized. A coconut fell on my head. I had a flash. What is your parampara? This is the question. That is who is the sadhu. Evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo vidu. I have taught this in previous lives, Krishna tells Arjuna, and the saintly kings understood it in parampara. If there's no parampara, it is like, how can you be a doctor if you don't go to the medical college? This is a material example, but particularly this is important in spiritual life, because spiritual life is teaching about the transcendental. So, who is the good teacher? Tadvidi pratipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekskantite jnanam jnaninas tatvadashina. Who is Guru? Initiated in Sampradaya, and he has had darshan, jnaninas tatvadashina. He's had darshan of the absolute truth. That is the qualified teacher. And also in Mandaka Upanishad, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtakyam. Here is the symptoms of the sadhu. Shrotriyam, he knows the Vedic conclusions. This is particularly talking about somebody who wants to appoint himself or present himself or become self-effulgently manifest as Guru. Shrotriyam, he must know the conclusion very thoroughly of the Shruti, of the Veda and the Smriti. Shrotriyam. And then Brahmanishtakyam. He must be established in that. He must be a practitioner. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtakyam, 2 words. And that can only come under proper tuition, under a realized sadhu. So we're all very fortunate. We are sheltered under Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, under Gokishore Das Babaji, under the 6 Goswamis, under Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and under Srila Bhakti Vedanta. These are Jnaninas Tatvadashina. And if we want the absolute truth, we go and we study under these great souls. And that becomes realized by ourselves. Another point, we're only in the first few words of the verse, but the counterpoint Krishna gives in 1623. Now Krishna said earlier, the yogi who is following everything nicely, he becomes established in the absolute truth. But then listen to this, the importance of Shastra. This is verse 23 of chapter 16. Yakshastra vidim uchstrishya vartate karma karataha na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na paramgatim. He, that person, who discards scriptural injunctions, he's not listening to the Shruti or the Smriti. He's not studying that. He's saying, this is my idea. And acts according to his whims, without accepting the discipline of the Shastra, the Bhagavatam, the Gita, the Mahabharata, the Vedas, the Puranas, the commentary of the Acharyas. Then what will one do? One will act according to one's mental concoction, one's whims. He'll become a politician. He'll say sweet words. Oh, we should all love one another, and that will be the solution. We must be kind. Yes, but how can we develop those qualities? They are there on the spiritual platform. What is the sadhana to bring them forward, rather than just a whimsical posturing of them? And acts according to his own whims, attains neither perfection, siddhim. That means he doesn't attain his relationship with the Supreme. He doesn't attain Swarup Siddhi, Vastu Siddhi. No happiness. You remember this verse? The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, attains the highest happiness. He doesn't attain happiness, nor the supreme destination. So, the Veda is pramana. in the Veda, Baladeva Vibhushan in the Prema Ratnavali, he's given 9 primary points of the Vedas. Actually 10, but number 1 is Veda Pramana. The Vedas are Pramana. They are the evidence of the Prameya, that which is to be proved. So, again returning to this point, that the yogi, he is initiated and accepting evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo vido. He is accepting the systemology given by the Supreme Lord, that you must surrender to the sadhu who is in disciplic succession. Evam para praptam imam raja shayo vidu. Sakalena mahata yoga nasta parantapa. So, 7, where is it? Here we are. The yogi whose mind is fixed upon me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. But if you don't follow the Shastric advice, na sukham, na param gatim, na siddhim. He is beyond the mode of passion. That means above passion and ignorance. The modes, subtle energy of the material creation, which clouds the consciousness. And how does it cloud? It clouds with 2 things, avaranatmika buddhi and prasadmika buddhi. Avaranatmika buddhi means it covers the understanding of the spiritual jiva as to his spiritual nature. It covers his understanding, I'm spirit soul. And then prasadmika buddhi means it gives the jiva the conception that I am this material world. I am a product of this material world. That is passion and ignorance. Mode of goodness, in the mode of goodness we can understand Vishuddha Atma. We can understand Turiya, the 4th level of consciousness. We can understand transcendence. He is beyond the mode of passion. And then, in the mode of goodness, he realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, with the Brahman. And thus he is freed from all reactions to all past deeds. So, that is summed up in, like I say, also in the, like I say, muktir hitavanyata rupam. The Vaishnavas do not think that the mukti of merging into the Brahman or becoming fixed on Paramatma, that is the ultimate understanding. Muktir hitavanyata rupam swarupena avavashtiti. If you want to be situated in your Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Sadhakavanai, if you want to be situated Jivara Swarupoi Nityara Krishna Das, you have to put your consciousness upon Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And you have to understand Paramatma is the production, Brahman is the, or Brahmajyoti more particularly, is the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. You must have the right understanding. And then you can cultivate service attitude. How? By taking shelter of bona fide guru. Tadvidi pratipatena. You must accept a realized soul in the Guru Parampara. Mahat Sevam Dwara Maho Vimuktes. Then you can get liberation. And then after, like I say, Krishna gives the counterpoint in 1623. But then, to finish the chapter, this is divine and demoniac nature. To finish the chapter, Krishna says everything very nicely. He says, okay, I'll say the Sanskrit, it's very auspicious. Tasmak Shastram Pramanam. Pramanam, you see this word? Pramana, evidence. Te Karayakarya Vavashtito. Gyatva Shastra Vada Toktam Karma Kartam Iha Hasi. if we understand that we should not reject the Shastra, then Krishna says, one should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scripture. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. So this is the important point. We want to become the true yogi. We want to put our consciousness on Krishna. We want to develop Krishna Prem by the grace of Mahaprabhu, by Nityananda Prabhu, by Advaitacharya, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas, by the Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sangha. We want that. We should understand what is to be done and what is not to be done from the Shastra. And the Guru will give us the proper understanding of Shastra. And we discipline our lives according to that. And we endeavor. Just like in that song by Narottam Das Thakur, Sri Rupa Manjari Pad, Say Mora Sampada. This is a great song. He says, everything I am doing as an offering to Rupa Manjari. All my japa, all my tapasya, all my studying, all my prachar, I am in recognition, I am consciously giving it as an offering to Rupa Goswami. So through the Vaishnav, through the sadhu, Mahat Sevam Dwara Maho Vimuktes, adopting that attitude of service to the sadhu, then the Mahat Sevam Dwara Maho Vimuktes, then the door of liberation, the door of entrance to Krishna Leela is there. So this is the subtle activity of the bhakta. Yes, we're following Vaidhi. We're getting up, we're going Mangalarti, we're chanting, we're staying pure, we're eating nice prasadam, we're avoiding asatsangi chagi. But within, just like Mahaprabhu, he had internal reasons for appearing. Internally, we must be doing everything according to the advice of the Acharya and the Shastra, and we must be consciously offering that to Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami, we are Rupa Raghunatha Pade, offer to Rupa Raghunath, and the disciplic succession coming from the Goswamis down to Srila Prabhupada through Bhakti Siddhanta, Gokishore Das Babaji, all these great devotees. We must be following our Bhakti Sadhana, our study, and we must be offering it consciously. We must be training the mind in this way, in Dasya Bhav, to be servant. And then the Swarup, once the root of Dasya Bhav, of service attitude to the great devotees is there, then the Swarup will naturally manifest. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much. Any question or contribution? I hope. Everyone is perfectly satisfied. So let's chant Hare Krishna again. It's so nice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much. Jai Radha.